So now I'm going to record the second part of Daf Mem Tes. So we had a shaila when the Mishnah said that hides are not muktzah. Are we talking about only the hides of a balabayis, or what about the hides of a professional leather worker? Are they muktzah or not? So the Gemara said that according to Rabbi Yonasan ben Elazar, he said it's logical that a professional leather worker's hides would be muktzah. And Rabbi Shmuel ben Rabbi Yossi quoted his father that even his father was a professional leather worker and felt his hides were welcome to be used, not muktzah. Meisvei, the Gemara responds with a kasha. Nisorim shel balabayis, boards of a private homeowner, metaltal and oisam, you're allowed to handle them on Shabbos because a board can be used as a tray or whatever. Shalumanei metaltal and oisam, but if it belongs to a carpenter, you can't handle them because they're muktzah, they're used for his work. If the carpenter had in mind that he's going to use a board to serve people bread on Shabbos, so benkach metaltal, then it's not muktzah because he had in mind to use it. But you see that a carpenter's boards are muktzah, so theoretically a leather worker's hide should also be muktzah. Gemara says no. Shani nesarim dekapet alayu. Boards are more sensitive than hides. Boards, if you use them, you might bend them or stain them, and you won't be able to use them afterwards. But hides, nothing's going to happen. So perhaps hides, even of a professional leather worker, are not muktzah, and he'll use it as a mat or as something to sit on. Toshima, the Gemara tries another proof from a brisa. Ayros hides, bein avudim, bein she'enim avudim, mutter l'taltalim b'Shabbos. Whether they're tanned or they're not tanned, they're not muktzah. Le'amru avudim, the difference between tanned and untanned is elo l'yantuma b'lvad. In order to be makabel tumah, if it's tanned, then it's considered a utensil. Then it's makabel tumah. If it's still raw, it's not makabel tumah. Is my love? Would you not understand the brisa that when we say it's not muktzah, loishana shel balabayis v'loishana shel luma, that hides are never muktzah, whether they belong to a private individual or they belong to a professional, they're not muktzah. Gemara says loy, no, maybe shel balabayis. Maybe when the brisa said that hides aren't muktzah, they're talking about the hides belonging to a private homeowner. The Gemara asks, Avo shel uman mai ein metaltalin? But then the brisa, you're telling me the brisa believes that if the hides belong to a professional leather worker, you can't handle them? When the brisa differentiated between tanned hides and untanned hides can be makabel tumah, and untanned hides cannot be makabel tumah. Lifleg v'listen to b'didah. The Gemara could have even differentiated in untanned hides between Bamed Vorm Amor Mishal Balabayis. That a private homeowner's hides are not muktzah, Avol Shaluman Loy, but a professional leather worker's hides cannot be handled on Shabbos. So, why did the Brisa say that? The Gemara says because Kula B'Balabayis Kamayri. Could be the Brisa is only talking about a homeowner's hides. So a homeowner's hides are never muktzah. And if they're tanned, they're makabel tumah. And if they're not tanned, they're not makabel tumah. But we weren't talking about a professional leather workers, because maybe his would be muktzah. So the Gemara doesn't seem to resolve it. But, ketanoi, it's a machlokes tanoim. Irish balabayis metaltal and oisam, v'shaluman ein metaltal and oisam. If the hide belongs to a private homeowner, it's not muktzah Shabbos, because a private homeowner will use the hide for whatever needs he has on Shabbos, as a table mat or a floor mat. Rabbi Yossi says that it doesn't matter. Even if it's a professionals, you can also handle it. This is the Rabbi Yossi that before we had Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Yossi said in the name of his father. And his father was a leather worker who during the week, sometimes if he needed a mat, he said, take one of my hides and we'll use it as a mat. So you see, according to Rabbi Yossi anyway, that even a professional's hides are not muktzah Shabbos because he would use them for private use. Hadar Yasir Yukam Boyalu, the same three Amayroim, Rabbi Yonasan ben Achinoi, Rabbi Yonasan ben Elazar, Rabbi Chanina bar Chama, were sitting and wondering, Hadar Tanan, Oves Malachas Arbam Chaser Achas Keneged Mi. There's a Mishnah later in Daf Ayin Gimel, in Perek Klal Gadol, that Oves Malachas, there's 39 Oves Malachas. What do the 39 correspond to? Amru Rabbi Chanina bar Chama Keneged Avodas HaMishkan. He said these are 39 Malachas that were needed for the building of the Mishkan. Amrlu Rabbi Yonasan Rabbi Lazar. Rabbi Yonasan Rabbi Lazar says, Kach Amar Rabbi Shimon Rabbi Yossi ben Lekunya. Rabbi Shimon Rabbi Yossi ben Lekunya says, Keneged Malacha, Malachta, Umalacha Shabbatayr Arbam Chasarachas. If you count how many times it says the word malacha, malachta, or malachas in the Torah, it's 39. Boy Rav Yosef, Sir Rav Yosef, the Amir, was wondering, Vayovai abayis lasas malachta. It says Yosef HaTzadik went into Potiphar's house, lasas malachta. Miminyanahu Allah. Is that count as one of the 39 or not? Amalei Abayis, Abayis says to his Rebbe Rav Yosef, what do you mean you don't know if it counts or not? Laisi Sefer Torah, Velimni. Bring a Sefer Torah, we'll count, we'll see. Miloi Omar Rabba Bar Bachanan Rabbi Yochanan. Rabba Bar Bachanan said B'Shem Rabbi Yochanan in another story elsewhere that there was a similar question as to whether something, how to count or what to count. They brought a Sefer Torah and counted. So here too, you want to know whether Vayova Abaisa Lasis Malachta counts, try and count. Omar Leis Rabbi Yosef says, I'll explain to you. Kika Mesafkali, I'll tell you my Sophic. Mishum Diksiv Amlocha is Dayim. When they built the Mishkan, it says, and the Melacha was Dayim. What does that mean? Does that mean Vamalocha is Dayim that the actual specific labors that were done to build the Mishkan, there was enough of those labors, and therefore that word Melacha is Dayim is talking to a labor, and Minyanu it counts. And the one of Vayova Habayis Lasas Malachta by Yosef means Commandamar Chas V'Sholem Lasas Tzrach of Nichnas. There it means that Yosef went to the house of Potiphar because he wanted to do an Aveir with Potiphar's wife. And Lasas Malachta is just a metaphor, a euphemism. Or Dilmar, maybe Vayova Habayis Lasas Malachta Memenyanu. Or maybe when Yosef went into the house to do work, he was going to do work, carpentry, I don't know, to do actually some labor. And Vahai Amlocha Isadayim, when the pasuk says Amlocha Isadayim Hochi Kamar, the Shlim Le'avidita, the job was finished. So take, I'm not sure. I know that there's 39 Malacha Malachtai and I know that there's 39 Malacha Malachtai and Malachas, but actually there's 40, but one of them is not going to count. Either Yosef is not going to count because Chas V'Sholem, it means that Yosef went into the house of Potiphar to do a sin, doesn't mean to do a job. Or V'amalocha Isadayim doesn't count because it means that the job, the general job of the Mishkan was complete. We're not talking about a specific labor. Tanya, we learned in a Braisa, Kamanda Omar Kenegad Avodas HaMishkan. We learned in a Braisa that the 39 corresponds to the Malachas of the Mishkan. The Tanya, we learned in a Braisa, Ein Chayavin, you're not Chayav Skila or Chorus or Shaygig B'chatas, Chatas B'Shaygig, Ela Malacha Shekiyaytza B'Aisa B'Mishkan, only on a Malacha that existed in the Mishkan. For instance, Heim Zaru, they needed to plant in the time of the Mishkan. Why? Because they either needed to make tchelis, and it's interesting, even though tchelis is made from chilozain, but you can also make it from plants. So they needed to plant plants, or they needed to plant something to make red for the red ram skins. But va'atem loitizru, but you shouldn't plant. Heim kotzru, they harvested. Atem loitiktzayru, you don't harvest. Heim helus akroshim mikarka lagola. They took the boards and brought them from the ground, which was a Rishus Harabim, onto a wagon, which was more than 10 tefachim high and dalad al dalad, which was a Rishus HaYachid. So va'atam you lo tachnisu Rishus Harabim Rishus HaYachid. You shouldn't bring anything in from Rishus Harabim to Rishus HaYachid. Heim hoiridu akroshim yagola lakarka. They lowered the kroshim from the wagon, which is a Rishus HaYachid, onto the ground, which is a Rishus Harabim. Va'atam lo taitziu Rishus HaYachid Rishus Harabim. You should not take anything out from Rishus Yochid to Rishus Harabim. Heim moitziu me'agola lagola. They passed the boards from one wagon to the other. A'atem loitatziu Rishus Yochid Rishus Yochid. You shouldn't pass Rishus Yochid Rishus Yochid. Just a minute. Rishus Yochid Rishus Yochid Ma'ikovet. What are you doing wrong when you go Rishus Yochid Rishus Yochid? Abai v'Ravid Amrit Harvayu. They explain. B'teimer Ravad Barava Rishus Yochid Rishus Yochid Derech Rishus Harabim. You're not allowed to pass from one Rishus Yochid to the other when you're crossing over the Rishus Harabim. Let me explain. When they needed to build a Mishkan, so the boards were on a wagon, but there was a wagon, let's say, that was closest to the site of the Mishkan being built, and there was a wagon behind it, and a wagon behind it. So what they would often do is they would pass the boards from wagon to wagon until they got to the wagon that was closest to the site, and there they built it. As they passed from wagon to wagon, they passed over a Rishus Harabim. So therefore, you're not allowed to pass something, Moishit, Rishus Yochid, Rishus Yochid, over the Rishus Harabim. When they finally took the board off the wagon onto the floor, so they took it, Rishus Yochid, Rishus Harabim, so that's prohibited. When it came time to load the wagons, they took the board off the street, which is Rishus Harabim, onto the wagon, which is Rishus Yochid. so you're not allowed to take anything. So in any case, this Brisa says that the 39 Melechas HaMishkan corresponds to the 39 Melechas of Shabbos, correspond to the 39 Melechas HaMishkan. Mirz Hashem, I will upload tomorrow, Friday, the Shir for Shabbos, and so we'll continue. I hope that everybody's well. Whoever is sick should have a refuah shalema. Whoever is well, HaKadosh Baruch Hu should help you stay well. And in Mirz Hashem, we should see each other soon in person.